My name is Mercedes, and you know that we have Tavai here, but we also have some special guests to talk about the most popular episode so far with the TMA team. F that job. Tavai, passing it on to Vi.
So excited for you guys to be here. We have Ignorant Thinkers Podcast, Dennis Holmes, and the side Jawn Sharon with us. We are going to talk about it. F that job. And I want to throw it to you guys. Please tell us what your experience has been when you watch the show, F that job part 1 and 2, and now being involved in F that job part 3, the trilogy. How do you
The
feel?
trilogy.
My experience has been some things I was wanting to say on your first 2 shows, especially with certain jobs that I've had. I had about like 20, 25 jobs. I've been fired about 19, 20 times. You know what I mean? So I got a lot to say around here about F that job. But I'm gonna let Sharon get into it. I gotta do some things real quick.
First of all, y'all were cracking me up with the facial expressions. I can't get past the facial expressions when y'all talking about these job situations. But it also brought back a lot of memories, and how many types of jobs I have actually held. I was thinking about that. Why did I stay in that job so long? Why did I put up with that? I know exactly what they're talking about. These are the thoughts that were going through. Oh yeah, that happened to me. Yeah, I wanted to go in there like Angela Davis and just really mess up the joint one day because of some slick stuff. I did, and couldn't. And it's kind of frustrating. In the majority of my career, I've been a licensed either insurance agent or an insurance adjuster.
Okay.
And when you carry a state license, there's only so much you can and cannot do anywhere you go.
Yeah.
That's in the office, outside the office. And it's like you got to be on your P's and Q's. And plus, the feds always watching. When I say the feds, I don't mean just the feds.
Yeah.
And so you really have to be careful what the kinds of things that you say when you're on this public forum in this public space. So I'll be focusing on that today. But I am excited to be here to talk about these topics because, man, if that job is like a common theme. And when I have shared the link for other people, some of my friends to watch it, they're like,
Yeah,
man, why didn't I think about doing that? Why did I think about doing this podcast is what I'm saying. They were like, dang, they beat me to it. So it is a very popular subject matter, and people like to I think they like to listen to these shows, and also they like to vent because they know they can't vent at work.
Yeah.
So
I
it's very
think
therapeutic. Mm-hmm.
I think that was the biggest takeaway for me when we did the first 2 episodes was I was living the experience. And so it was an opportunity for me to vent because I didn't have that voice or the audience at work.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lived experience for me. And it was like, yo, no, this isn't just some article or this isn't a cute little byline. No, this is my life that I'm living right now. Like, F my job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was absolutely here living that. And I feel like even with the direction we're going today, I still feel very passionate about it, kind of attacking the structure, attacking the whole process, because I feel like that is one of the things now, they like to get into statistics and say that there's a lot of jobs and there's all these jobs available and people aren't applying. No, the overall system to get hired is broken. It doesn't work. It hasn't been working, but we see a bigger reflection of that right now. I feel like, while we're in the 3rd year of the pandemic, like I feel like you see it more. It's more prevalent that this, And I say that given my first example, the system is broken, is if you've ever applied to jobs to Indeed previously, before the pandemic, and to now, they are requiring more assessments now. Like, you want more of me to get this job than the job probably even requires. And I have a problem with that. Like, those assessments require time, they require energy, they require thought process for a job that may not even manage or take care of my bills. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, I got a lot on my chest about this. Still very angry. Still very, very angry.
But Sharon, thank you.
I agree with you on that, though. They are requiring more, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Sharon, thank you so much. So it means so much that you have shared F that job to your peoples.
Oh yeah,
it means so much. I just want to say thank you for
I
that.
got some friends that just needed the therapy.
Yeah, definitely.
They did.
Yes. They're not alone. But no, I think that was the whole premise behind this one, that the system is broken. So getting into that, and I guess that would be where we start, is this whole application process. So I was talking to Dennis behind the scenes, and I feel like the hiring process, the payroll process is all antiquated. It does not meet the needs for the times that we currently live in. And I want to challenge how we get hired, the application, I upload my resume, but then still have to put in my work history process. I feel like that right there could stop a few people. The additional assessments is trash. It's trash.
Preach.
Like I don't even understand the need for it. And some of these jobs, some of those assessments don't even match the job. Like, why are you asking me, about some things where I'm gonna be working by myself in any way? There will be no customer interaction for the most part. And then I guess the other thing that I want to point out is you're asking all of this of me. And what are these employers putting out there for themselves? Like, how are we holding them accountable? So yeah, that's my beginning tirade. Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way about that.
That weight is heavy. Like, you were just ready.
I am. This is no notes. No notes.
I'm following though. I'm with you. I'm with you definitely on the assessments. I'm with you on the what's my favorite, not really favorite one, the somewhat, most likely, never, always. When they ask you like what you have to fill in the blank that is most like the situation that you would do. So if you caught, one of your coworkers stealing, would you tell your boss? Somewhat, most likely, always, or never? Like, I'm gonna tell him myself. I'm pointing out that I'm a rat. Like, I'm not. No.
That's what you say. That's what you say in your head, though. That's what you say in your head. Then you got to click always. Like, you got to always. But in your head, you be like, it depends on what he's stealing. Shit, we might be in this together.
Like, this. You're not getting the real me in this assessment. That's exactly what it is.
I was at a job. Somebody was still at the time. The iPod touches had just came out. He was stealing them. I saw you steal them. I need a couple too. I got backup. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
Listen, I feel like as long as their stealing does not impact my paycheck every 2 weeks and it's not putting anyone else in danger, I'm minding my business. Like, I don't see nothing. I don't know nothing. Listen, don't.
Hell, you might be. I was gonna say, you might be in more danger for telling.
Okay. Right. Your life is in risk now.
Listen, just don't be on my register and on my tail, and I come up short. Okay, just be logged in under your number or bogus number, so I don't get caught up. That's how I feel about it.
I'm with you on that. I
have a question about that though. Does it matter what type of job you have or what level of responsibility you have to have that opinion, or that's your opinion no matter what your job is or what level you are or whatever?
And I'm going to answer this honestly, Sharon. If that is not one of mine, like, I'm not their supervisor. It does not affect my payroll or my till or my records or my data. And it ain't nothing crazy where I can get caught for not saying anything. I'm minding my business.
Right.
And I'm saying that to say that I have been at jobs where people have had the hookup from managers. And if I were to say something, then now I'm gonna get in trouble because they got the okay from somebody to do what they was doing. I just so happen to see.
Yep.
And then if I went and said something, I'm getting them and the manager in trouble.
Yeah.
You might be getting a whole clique in trouble. This a whole clique that's doing this thing together.
Listen, I say the same thing as Sadie's because I've lived it. I have been a supervisor, and so there's corporate ways of stealing. So it may not be that I walked out of here with an object, but they steal time, and they will, especially when you need staffing, you will use incentives all day long to get your needs met. And in some situations, you truly are robbing and stealing someone or something. But I worked for an agency where, they made sure they pushed their people's applications through to get the assistance, to get the gifts, to get the whatever. And yeah, it was definitely nepotism going on throughout there. And yeah, it was just kind of like, this is the culture. You know what I mean? Like you too noble or you too whatever, but you got, this is our culture. This is what we do. Like we got to get our reparations any way we can. And this is how we choose to go about it. So shut up, mind your business. Right. And that's kind of the mentality that I've taken is shut up, mind my business, as long as it does not affect my pocket. That sounds horrible.
But it's the truth. You'll see the whole clique.
Yeah.
And they so loose with it. They say the things around you and you act like you don't even hear it. Oh yeah, make sure you clock me in for tomorrow, even though I'm off. A whole clique. Now you mad at them. They just did a whole shift, but ain't nobody mad at them. They more mad at Johnny Blow for stealing a pencil sharpener or something. Like, no, that don't even make sense.
It's not only that. I worked at a hospital, so there, shout out to the healthcare field, but they have done some things to get bodies on the floor that they would never do in other departments. And so you have to kind of figure that process out. Like as a supervisor in one of those other departments, how can I compensate my employees? Now, I never allow them to steal, but you are forced in situations to kind of do different things because everybody knows what's going on. Even if you're not an active participant in it, you know what's going on. So you are, in some level or form, you're compromised. Everyone is compromised in these situations, whether you're stealing or not. Yeah.
Yeah, and then going back to the ratting, that ridicule and judgment you get from your coworkers is real. That is like stress, anxiety, and pressure that I have to go to work every day and face these people who do not like me because I thought I was doing right by saying, by the way, so-and-so was doing XYZ. That stuff gets out. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it go wrong. And homegirl thought she was saving the day. And everybody else's shit was exposed.
Yeah. And that's
it caused headquarters to be like, well, let me see what else y'all doing.
Yes.
And now everybody was mad at homegirl. Everybody was cussing out homegirl, throwing her look. She wasn't invited to no happy hours. None of that.
No invites. So I feel like there's a ripple effect when these things happen. When you decide to be the one to speak out against the trends and the norms, you definitely experience some level of isolation. Because you are messing up a gravy train that you don't know how many people had their hands in. I don't know if that really answers your question, Sharon, but yeah, for me personally, yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Does it challenge my morals? Yes, because I don't steal and I wouldn't want someone to steal from me. So it does challenge my morals to be like, you know, I hear no evil, see no evil, do no evil kind of thing. Yeah. Absolutely.
I can't say that I don't steal. I'm just saying I can't sit here and say that because sometimes I'm at a Walmart and they got one register open and I will scream out, you know, I'm better off walking out of here with this. And then a couple more registers open. Just stuff like that. I'll do that from time to time.
Listen, self-checkout checks everybody's morality because, you know, if I'm not going to put that was an organic apple every single time, you know what I'm saying?
It might be lettuce. It might be lettuce.
It might be.
At some point, I feel like, you know, this was grapes. You know, they was grapes, but it really was lettuce. You know, that's how I feel.
That 99-cent head of lettuce. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Man, you eat a lot of salads, and I do. And I do. Dennis, I hope you can see the comments because I can't see any comments, commentary, anything.
Well, one thing y'all got to do is y'all got to approve me for the sweet love because I'm kind of stuck. I'm not approved.
Hold on.
That's the one thing.
Okay, hold on.
Jonathan says the self-checkout is definitely a true test of character. I have to agree with that. I definitely have to agree with that. It all depends on exactly how you feel. Certain jobs with all those extra stuff they be asking for on the application, and then you get there's a bunch of wild animals work at that joint, and you're like, well, who else filled all this out? Like, that's all I'm trying to figure out.
Exactly. So let me ask this question. Have you ever done an application for someone else?
No, I ain't built like that.
You've never filled out an application for somebody else?
No, I'm not built like that.
All the time.
I'm not built like that. I have sent job information to other people, but I ain't
have they filled out the application for you then?
I don't know if anybody has filled out an application for me. I cannot agree or disagree to that. I know I ain't get the job if they did. Let me get that out the way. I can tell you that part. Let's get that out the way right now. I know whoever filled it out, I ain't get the job.
Yeah, I have filled out applications for people. And I'm going to say majority of them have been older, and that is just because they don't have the whole computer thing down. So for instance, my mother was like, I'm looking for a new job. I did her whole resume. I did the somewhat, most likely, always, never assessment for her.
Yeah.
You know, references. And that's our next topic, using made up references or have you ever been a reference for someone? But I've definitely done that.
I've been a reference and a piss test for some people. Just let y'all know that, all right?
What?
Yeah, I'm the one.
I will say that's one of the benefits of working from home is the drug testing is kind of eliminated for some of these jobs.
Oh, I never even noticed that, Vi.
Yeah. And I don't do anything.
My son just had to do one recently.
But who does he work for? If you can say.
A delivery service, I'll just say that.
Okay. I work for an insurance agency, and that was not a requirement. I've actually worked for a couple.
That's very unusual for an insurance agency. Yeah,
but it's work from home now.
Right. I understand.
Yeah, no, I didn't have to. And I'm not worried. I never worry about that part.
I don't either.
Yeah,
but it was just kind of, I realized they never asked.
Oh, my fault. Here goes Elise Jeffers. How did you pass a piss test? First of all, I don't smoke that much reefer. That's why I pass a piss test. I only smoke reefer on occasions. That's how. That's first of all.
Hey, are you still calling it reefer?
Yeah, I still call it. I say it reefer because the kids don't know what that is. Right?
Okay.
Kids have no idea what reefer is.
Right. That's why he says it that way.
Okay.
He knows that's an old word.
Kids have no idea what reefer is. Reefer. They over there talking about some. I smell some loud in here. Then I don't know about no reefer. Like,
yeah. I think to address the one thing, yes, I filled out assessments for people because I feel like it goes back to everybody's not a great test taker. So I don't feel like those assessments are fair for everybody, because you just genuinely might not be a good test taker, but you can do and fulfill the requirements of the role. You just can't necessarily get your foot in the door because of that stupid assessment. I've had a job where I had to break out a calculator. It's like, wait a minute. This is too much math for me. And I have yet to use that level of math in this role, but they asked some things. It was just like, wait a minute. What are we like? Why are we asking all these things? So I feel like if you need that level of assistance to get into the job, and I'm confident that you can do the job, I might do the assessment portion for you. And I have definitely anybody that I supervised before previously, I have been a reference for, and I always say that they're fabulous. Oh yeah, they're great people, because I don't feel like the reference thing is fair. And again, this is my subject. I can talk for days on this, but if I'm trying to flee a job, no, I said flee. Why would I give you my current supervisor's information so that they can prevent me from fleeing? No. Why? Why would I do that? Why ask that anymore?
Oh, okay. So that's what you mean by references. You don't want to have to put your prior employer and say, can we contact your current employer or your prior employer? That's what you're talking about?
I'm talking about that, and I feel like those references should be personal and professional, and it shouldn't be held against you. Now, if all you have is personal, then I may question that. But I don't necessarily feel like if you're trying to leave a job that you should be required to give your current supervisors information. It should really just be, do you work here kind of a thing, and leave it at that. Because there is a thing of sabotage. And so if like the current job market, if we're short staffed, and I know that you're trying to leave this role, and I'm going to either have to fill that position until we hire. Why would I set myself up for that? I'd rather see you fail and get stuck here first. Like just to be, why would I let you leave when I need you?
That's crazy.
Even if it's not what's best for you, I need you. So I don't feel like it's a fair position to put people who are trying to get new employment in, to have them have to allow their new supervisor. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, when I left my last job, I stopped telling my supervisor I was looking for employment. I did not want them to contact her. I would say, no, you cannot contact my current supervisor. Absolutely not. I would give them previous supervisors that I still had good rapport with, but I would not allow them to contact the actual one that I was working with, because I was worried about the sabotage.
Yeah.
But isn't it true that there's only so much information they can give in a reference, just your hire date and your end date, and that you work there? You can't really say your character or what happened at work or anything like that. Isn't that true?
From the references that I've had to give recently, and they're pretty commercial, they ask a question. I don't think the weakness and strength question is fair. And I feel like there's a lot of subjectiveness to those answers. Those are the things that I still see pop up on a reference thing, a ref, like, it's a computerized reference that I've seen a lot of places use. But when they ask those questions, I don't think that's always a subjective answer.
Because you might have been weak at that job because they was paying that amount of money.
Or my experience there, or my support there was weak. So my performance there is going to be weak, or I'm over that job. So I don't always feel like those references are fair when you are asking those particular things.
When other employers are doing a reference check and you get those calls, they're asking you what are their strengths and weaknesses. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And for
employers.
Me,
okay.
Yes. So for me, it's been emails. So I have had several people get hired. They've used me for a reference, and it's a generated email to a link where you have to fill in how long you known this person, what role were you in, what role did you have any involvement in their hiring process, what would you say their strengths are? What would you say their weaknesses are? Though, and that is the over, and it's kind of like they develop their own scoring based on how I answer the question.
Wow, I didn't know that they were still asking that. I know if it's a reference that you provide,
Mm-hmm.
like if I like when I provide references, I always provide people who I not only know personally, but I worked with. So they can speak to the personal and the professional. And those people, when my prospective employer talks to them, they ask that question. But my prior employers, I thought that all they could ask was, hire date, termination date, and maybe would you hire them back again? I thought that was all
Those
they could ask.
No, they're able, for the ones that I've done, it's additional questions. They do ask, were you involved in the hiring of this individual? They do want to know, would you hire them back again or would you work with them again? And I've seen it where they want so many supervisors versus so many coworkers or personal. So you have to supply X amount of, in this referencing process, in this prospective job, so many supervisors that you have to have as a reference on here. And I want to challenge that, because not every supervisor is great, and not everyone that gets into that role knows what they're doing in that role. And that is not, I may have less, and I always challenge jobs that, if an employee has been good this whole time until they get under the supervision of one person, do we not look at the supervisor? Do we not question the supervisor too? Because if you've had a great employee record and then all of a sudden you divert under this leadership, should we not question that as well? And I just don't feel like the hiring process allows for those thoughts, or for the realities. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree with you in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues I have with the whole hiring process, especially now that it's digital.
Yeah.
This keyword craziness,
The
the
algorithm.
computer program, yeah, the computer programs that's looking for keywords and that's it. I am so sick and tired of having to, when you're job hunting, you almost have to create a whole new resume for every job you apply for, and that is
Absolutely.
so time consuming.
Absolutely.
I'm from the generation where you buy a box of nice fancy paper with matching envelopes, run off 100 resumes, see who's hiring, and you mail them. You just type in cover letters and send in resumes, and you didn't have to worry about keywords. And some of them say that it's the same thing. No, I didn't have to change my resume.
No.
All I had to do was change my cover letter. That was it.
Now you have to change they recommend that you change the resume for the job that you're applying for. Then you need a LinkedIn profile that reflects your skills. Your profile should, your resume should only be a certain amount of pages. You should possibly have a cover letter, but everything needs to be job specific and not general. Any social media that you have needs to also be reflective of all of that. And it's like, this is too much. Like, for me, it just becomes overwhelming, and it becomes too much. And it's like, I'm not living to work. You know what I mean? Like, this is not what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't it for me. So you're asking too much. Like, it's too much. And I'm telling you, I could go on and on. It's just too much.
So I'm gonna pause right here, ladies. We got, ladies and gentlemen, we have some comments that we have not been addressing.
I'm sorry, I can't see.
So we'll go back to the comments.
We got
So I got a comment.
Yep, my sister's in the comments.
Yep, we got a comment that says, "Don't do drugs, and weed is legal in New York. Weed can't be held up against you up here, unless it's a federal job." Shout out to Sister Sheila. Says, when asked if the company can contact my current employer, I say no. Not only is sabotaging real, but if you're trying to leave, you don't want your current employer to know. And I agree with you. You don't always want them to know, because your employer will start to treat you different. And I've seen
Absolutely.
it. You know what I mean? I've seen my supervisors when they knew I used to work for the casino for like 10 years, the casino industry. And so when I was leaving, my like days off were getting denied. I was being sent on break or lunch late. Like they was like, well, we're going to stop taking care of you. And I was a favorite. When they knew I was on my way out the door, honey, please.
Mm-hmm.
You're no longer a favorite.
No longer
No.
a favorite.
They're mad. But
I
as long
had
Definitely.
a job
as long
where,
as you stay in your place and take what they're dishing out, then you're good.
Mhm.
yes, I had a job where I gave my 2 weeks, and they said, we don't need you to work 2 weeks. Just finish out the end of this week. So I've experienced that as well, where you're trying to do the right thing, and because they big man, they like, nah, we don't need you to stay. You can go. Yeah.
Definitely. We got another comment says, that's true. If they contact the company formally, like through HR, I think this is about the references we were talking about. Yes, but informal references through the person's connections. We got another comment that says previous employers can ask any and all questions as long as it pertains to you getting the new job, your attitude, your work ethic, all of that. Another comment says, yes, I have also had to complete the online and on the phone references that included strengths and weaknesses. Even on the phone?
Yes.
Strengths and weaknesses? Oh my gosh. Team too much. Next comment says, I find it interesting that companies want to ask for references from the current employer when data shows that most people leave a job because of their immediate manager.
Correct.
That's right.
And that is where it's
Facts,
challenging.
facts, big facts.
And
That's
that's
a
where it's
big
challenging,
thing.
and it's not fair. For me, being a previous supervisor, when I get asked that question about weaknesses, I said there's always room for growth, and there's always room for learning, because as you grow in a role, the role changes, the requirements change. So that, to me, I try to answer that in a way that does not show a deficiency in the employee, but just highlights there's always room for growth. There's always room for learning. They have a chance to grow in management. They have a chance to continue their education to make them a better employee. But I never try to show a deficiency. And I feel like that's what they're always looking for, is a deficiency, a reason to hold that person back or to use something against them down the line.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree.
But why do you think that the system is so broken and it seems like nobody wants to repair it?
Because it benefits the top percent. It doesn't benefit the middle class individuals or the lower class individuals. It keeps the profits where they want the profits to be. And we've seen that with the pandemic, how I just seen it where Prime is going up, and they're like, how is Amazon Prime going up when they've had one of the biggest profit margins during the pandemic? You're not hurting for money. You made millions of money during this. So it's all about keeping the money where they want the money to be. That's why the system will never be improved. Because they want to keep the top dollars in their pockets.
So you're saying it's more profitable to do things this way, the wrong
Correct.
way, the less
Correct.
efficient way, the way that
Correct.
makes it harder for you to find employment. It's
Correct.
more profitable for them. Okay.
And I believe that they're lazy as hell as well. I do
That
believe
too.
Like I
And
said, you'll go by a couple of your hiring managers' offices, and we'll need people, but then they'll have a stack of applications just sitting there collecting dust.
Yeah. I mean, the other part that I feel like the pandemic highlighted was you had the PPP loans. And so many of them will be forgiven if they could not employ the people to fill them. So you had that level of scheme that's going on. I feel like that was the biggest thing, was that there was benefit to not hiring people. There was a profit in not hiring people.
Which comes across completely backwards, because if you answered the right questions and you displayed what you really will make an hour, should you accept this job? Because that's a whole nother comment about how I go to look for a job and you just won't say upfront what the pay is. But you can circumvent all the people that are not for this gig, that are not for this position, that are not for this job, if you just make it plain. Say what you really want, right? Say you want someone who is going to do what they're told, never question authority, doesn't want days off, and will take what you can get them. And let's see how many people you get in the door.
You won't.
Exactly.
You was venting right there. They must be getting
sorry.
robots. They getting robots.
It's coming.
Even though people keep talking about this metaverse, the meta world, where it's going to live, people going to be faking it to make it in that meta world. But
so
I'll get to that later.
Here's my biggest gripe. You can't say that you want employees and you won't bend on your hiring process. And this is controversial, but I think maybe we all know at least one felon, and felonies range of varying degrees that cannot get jobs right now because of these requirements that these employers have. So you can't tell me you're so desperate to hire when you're not willing to be flexible in your hiring process. I'm gonna call bullshit on that. You don't really want to hire anybody. You really don't.
Preach.
We got some comments. Go ahead, Dennis, and then we'll take some comments.
I had to learn that about through the hard way. And I don't have a criminal background, but I know some people that do. And they told me, "Hey, we hire people with criminal backgrounds." And I was like, "Oh, then fill the application out." And he was like, "Yeah, I couldn't get hired." I was like, "Y'all said y'all hire people with criminal backgrounds." I'm gonna let you go ahead, Sadie. You can read the comments.
Go ahead. Okay. Sheila's saying, I provide weaknesses that are strengths. For example, Sharon can get impatient with herself, yet shows great patience with others. I like it. I like the flip. I like it. So they really can't fault anywhere. Very, very smart. Next comment says, Netflix just told me they're going up starting in March. I was aware of that too. And we have all been Netflix and chilling since the pandemic. Netflix has saved my life in the pandemic. Saved my household from many of arguments. No
Netflix.
Listen, I am sharing passwords and usernames, okay? I am all about catch me if you can, okay? So if you want to watch Netflix, Dennis, I will send my username and password, and you can watch Netflix on me. Okay, we're gonna boycott the system.
That's right.
Listen, I got Disney Plus too for the kids.
Yeah.
Just in case Netflix, just in case y'all see this, we're not boycotting. We just don't have it. All right, just let y'all know that. All right. But if you end up giving us a contract, we'll gladly take it. But we just don't have it. All right.
Yeah.
Listen. They know Netflix is aware. Next comment says Amazon is on some straight BS for raising their Prime membership, but it's a business. I'm mad about it, but I understand too from the business mindset. Definitely. Nobody out there cornering the market, right? There's no one else to be like.
But they're not delivering the way they used to deliver either. So your
competition
Prime
is not
priming.
there.
The Prime isn't priming. It's not priming.
I'm with you. I have noticed that my 2-day or 1 day don't happen. Yes. I've had a lot of emails and text messages like couldn't make it out. We'll be out tomorrow, but I don't know. There's no competition. Then what we got? Jay Will says, Dennis, but you don't pay for Netflix.
I sure don't.
Thank you, Sheila. Sheila's like, I got Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, all that. We all do. They're getting us.
And I don't have none of that.
Listen, I was talking today to my brother about how we about to get rid of some of these apps and just start sharing usernames and passwords because I need to streamline my budget. So I can't keep
Jay Will, listen, Jay Will.
Well, Amazon Prime is the only one I have because I'm not paying for all that mess. I'm just not gonna do it.
I don't blame you.
Amazon is the only one I have. If it's not a free app like Tubi or something, then I don't have it.
If
free is good.
It was Jay Will.
I have sat down and done my budget and add up all these additional subscriptions, what that comes out to monthly is easily $100.
Wait,
It's
hold
not
on. Can I
hard.
ask a question though?
You might as well have cable.
Do y'all have
And I
cable?
got cable.
You
Yes.
got cable? Just ballpark reference. How big is your cable bill? How much is?
Mine is internet, and it comes with the streaming service, so it's about $150.
Yeah. Not more than that.
Mine is TV, internet, and phone. Yes,
Mhm.
I have a home phone for emergency purposes. Argue with your mama. I don't want to hear it. But if y'all knew what I knew about 911, you keep your house phone. I don't care what they say.
I agree.
Just keep your house phone. That's all I'm gonna keep saying to people. But anyway, I have that in a bundle. I don't pay $150. It's less than that.
Oh no.
Really
I
less
have
than
all
that.
the channels.
I didn't say.
I have all the channels. I'm gonna say that I have all the channels for
Got all the
$150.
channels. I got all the channels, but I don't have all the premium channels.
I have all
Only
the
have-
premium channels.
Only have 2 premium channels.
I have all the premium channels, and I do fight that because I'm like, yo, there's nothing on TV to watch, and this is why I'm really willing to get rid of apps, because there hasn't been anything on Netflix, there hasn't been anything on Prime, there hasn't been anything on Hulu, so I'm willing to get rid of them because there ain't been nothing on TV to watch.
And I know we totally off topic. We're gonna get back to topic, but Netflix has a whole list
ain't
of stuff
nothing on
coming
them
out.
premium channels, no way.
I know.
Every time I go to HBO and Stars, I'm flipping on the guy. Ain't nothing on. I go right back to the other TV. But
Yes.
you're right, Mercedes. Mercedes trying to keep us back on track.
I'm just saying, I agree with what all we're saying. So we can have the next
show. We got
show.
on that topic, right? Because we were talking about them as employers,
Yes.
and prices, but yet they too cheap. I mean, they have all this profit, but they won't improve their hiring practices.
Exactly.
And the whole reason why they started doing that computer algorithm thing for hiring is to make their ability to find candidates faster for them, easier for them. They don't even have to read the doggone resume.
Correct.
All they do is slip it in there. They pick the keywords they want, and then this gives them these 10 candidates. They might throw away the other 500.
But the other thing is that with these new jobs, especially work from home, that has become the wave. Everybody has now found a way, especially with customer service, to divert to work from home. But I've seen very few places that take on that overhead cost. People don't really realize that you are now absorbing that overhead cost that your employer used to take on when you work from home. So what do I mean, for those who don't understand, is like you would be away from home 8 hours a day. So that's 8 hours your electricity really wasn't running or really being stressed. But now you're in the home, so you're constantly using your electric. You're eating more, possibly. You're moving less, possibly. So there's so many more things that are taking place. So work from home has its benefits. No, you don't have to fight through traffic, but then you don't get snow days because they're like you're at home. So there's a lot of give and take with the work from home, but the overhead is not discussed. Now, I have seen where some employers are giving stipends to kind of compensate for some of that overhead, or they'll pay for the internet, or they do something, but majority of these jobs do not. And when you start talking numbers, and this is how they sway people, and this is one of our talking points, that up to number. When they say up to $24 an hour, that sounds sweet. $24 an hour, up to. They don't tell you what you need to do or what qualifications you need to meet to get the 24. And once you start doing your budget and realize that 24 may be compensating for my electricity bill or for my internet bill, then the math ain't really mathing anymore. My hourly rate really isn't giving what it should be giving. You know what I mean? There's a lot of backhand trickery that comes with these work from home jobs. And I'm just speaking because I've had a couple. And these are the things that I've experienced with those, is that, yeah, I've had one where they paid for my internet. I have one where they do not. I have one where I kind of get bonuses. I've had one where I do not. But yeah, those are some of the backhanded deals that they give, is that up to, and they don't tell you what you need to do to get the top rate. They don't discuss that. There's no transparency with these employers.
Keyword,
Else they don't tell
keyword,
you.
transparency.
There's something else they don't tell you. Back in the day, when they say that the salary is up to $24 an hour, they used to mean that's your starting salary. You
Mm-hmm.
still have opportunity for promotions and all that stuff. They don't tell you that up to $24 now means you can't, this is as far as you're gonna go, and next year
Yeah.
you won't get a raise, or the next 2 or 3 years you won't get a raise. They don't tell you that. Not up front.
No, or they won't say to you like, okay, we really hire at 18, and you have to have X amount of years to even get close to that $24 an hour. And even when you have the experience, they still don't want to pay you. And I don't want to name names, but I've had that. It was like, wait a minute. I was working for an insurance agency, and I applied for a pharmacy that's looking for customer service, and they didn't want to hire the same rate as the insurance. And it was like, but what you mean? Like, you can't match, you can't meet. And it was like, no. Like, these employers aren't even willing to give, because I guess they think that they can get employees to take this dollar amount. $15 and $16 an hour is really barely the living wage that everyone should be at. It's barely the living wage. Like, when you account for inflation, it's probably still not enough. And that's what they're holding over people as, like, oh, well, I'm paying you $16 an hour. You should be grateful for that. And that's not necessarily the case. That's not living.
No. And then they tell you you're the top paid player of that, certain position. I ain't trying to hear that. That ain't helping me.
Yeah, and I like the key word. The key word is transparency. Like, the whole topic of this conversation is just basically be upfront and be honest. Cut the BS, and then you don't have to go. You don't have to be in the situation where you have to constantly advocate for yourself with your supervisor. Like, like, this is what I deserve. This is what I should be getting, and then be given peanuts, and then be put in a position where, like, you stay or you go, because the company is going to continue to thrive, whether you work for them or not, which is like a whole nother topic show that we had, right? If I call out and miss a week of work, they still going to produce, they still going to make their money, they still going to do whatever, and that's how they make you feel.
I remember one time this lady told me at the interview about how she got this top-notch, super clean kitchen, and she was telling me all this stuff about the kitchen this, that we're just so amazing. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll probably take a walk through the kitchen. And she was, her eyes got big and was like, oh, we could do that. The kitchen was dirty as hell. I was like, what was all this top-notch as she was talking, and people in there with no gloves on, and I'm like, see, this is what I be talking about right here. No, I think I'm good. I'm gonna have to leave. I'm not.
It's not only that, but if you read some of these job descriptions, I get turned off when the job description has X amount of bullets of what they want me to do, and then they still throw in that favorite line, additional duties upon manager discretion. I have a problem with that. And then they act like offering the basic necessities is a bonus. You providing me health care that I still pay a good chunk of on my own.
Right, so you ain't providing.
you giving me PTO. You giving me PTO is a bonus. Like, these are some of the basic things that you should be offering. Holidays off, consecutive days off, you know what I mean? Those are some of the things that just should be given to everyday normal people, but you want to make it seem like this is a perk. That's what they call it. It's a perk to work for you because you're offering for me to pay for healthcare. You're offering for me to get a day off or two, or you're offering, and I love employee assistance programs, but because you have EAP, like, this is a perk. You know what I mean? You want me to address my mental health because you don't want me to come in here being mental. So stop the cap. Like, the job market is very manipulative to kind of highlight their best and not really be as transparent as possible. And I know we all need jobs to live, because the entrepreneurship is a whole nother boat, and that's not for everybody either. But that's a reality too.
It's
But
a hustle. It's a hustle, just like it is with the job field. They're all a hustle. It's a hustle.
It is a
You
hustle.
going, it's up and down, it's uphill battle with skates on. You're gonna make your mistakes, you're gonna take your lumps, but at the end of the day, you took your lumps for your company, not for somebody else's.
I agree, but it's still something to consider. It's not for everyone. Some people need the healthcare. Some people need the consistency of a paycheck, and they can't take that individual route, or that's just not their passion. That may not be your passion to do that, or you don't, whatever. But these jobs like to sell themselves, like they have everything going. One of the questions that I asked you that is off camera that I want to bring up to Sadie's and Sharon is, how do you feel, or how do you think about being paid monthly versus being paid bi-weekly? Do you feel like being paid monthly could benefit you, or do you feel like getting paid monthly would hurt you?
Well, for me, I don't think it will matter for me,
Okay.
because I am so budget conscious. So I'm such a stickler for sticking to whatever the budget is, and it's based upon when bills are due during the month, that whether or not I get the money on the first of the month, or 4 times a month, or 2 times a month, doesn't really matter for me.
Okay.
I know it seems better to get it every week. My job just changed from getting paid every week to getting paid every 2 weeks. And so I did have to have a mindset change, so to speak, and really look at my bills and due dates and try to make sure I'm taking the bills from the right paycheck for the month now,
Mm-hmm.
and which one to take it from, the first one or the second one, that type of thing. But other than that, if I pay attention to it, I pay close attention to it. So for me, it's not an issue, but I can see how it can be better for people to get paid every week versus once a month. Because I hear people say that all the time.
When me and Dennis had the conversation, I thought I see pros and cons in it. The pro that I can see in it is that once you got, like you said, your budget down pat, and you could really see your income and really could see your flexibility in your income, if you decided to be an entrepreneur, you have capital. You can see your money. You can budget your lifestyle so that you can make an additional stream of income for yourself if you so chose. I also believe, like, when you are in the content creating field, you don't get bi-weekly paychecks. You don't get weekly paychecks. Content creators get lump sums. And so it is something to take into consideration. You have to really learn how to budget your money more if you only got one check a month to play with. I do feel like it is a situation that could be a setup for failure. If you're not good with money management, you could be hungry at least 2-3 weeks out of your month. You could be hungry.
That's true. That's true. If budgeting is not your strength, you're right.
Yeah. I feel like that could be a situation for you, but I feel like you could learn from that. You know what I mean? Like, if you move into retirement, that could be your lifestyle, is, where you're only getting one check a month, where you have to budget. And why not start to condition yourself for it now? And I feel like you could possibly attack the interest, interest that you accrue while you're waiting for X paycheck or the second paycheck to pay this bill or that bill, especially when it comes to credit cards and things of that nature. If you could hit it all at once, if you could hit it early on and just be done with it.
So I will answer yes, I hear you very much better, Sharon.
Good.
Because I was like, sorry, I'm like, I think she's talking, but I don't want to talk over her because I could barely hear you. So I wanted to
Yeah,
make sure
somehow my Zoom audio setting was changed. It was like halfway down. It was only at 50% audio. I'm like,
okay.
how did that happen?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Sharon's got something to say. We got to hear you. But
Thank you.
no problem. Answer your question. I've had a job. My second job now pays monthly. I do like it because when I get paid, I know that I have to take care of everything that check is supposed to pay for. So I think I would be okay with a monthly check. I think I would do better with paying my bills because I knew this is it for a month. I feel like I've had a job where I got paid every week and I used to F money up because I knew that I could be broke on Wednesday because that direct deposit was coming through on Thursday. I also
preach
knew
on it. Preach on it.
listen, and I also knew back in the day, we used to go to the club, to the bar, give you a card, tell them open the tab because you knew that direct deposit was coming
by
through
12:59.
12:59 before last call.
Yes.
So I feel like that I would do better with monthly. I feel like the more frequency of paychecks, I know I have, it's like, okay, I'll catch up, right? I can rob Peter to pay Paul because I'm gonna do it on the next round. But when you got one go round, you can't mess up.
I'm not going to say that I wouldn't at least once or twice mess up, but absolutely, I feel like it does make you more financially responsible when you only have one to play with, only one check to take care of your overall expenses. And I've like you said, I have had jobs, especially when I have a part-time or another job where I'm like banking that they are on my off week so that I get a check every week. Like I pray that I get paid because I'm like, I don't want two checks in the same pay cycle. Because I rather have some play money or some wiggle room. So yes, I agree. But I don't know as an employer how they feel about it. Like, how do you make sure you get your work's worth, which is why I challenge the whole salary narrative, if I pay you in one lump sum?
Yeah, that probably depends on the job, definitely. If it's anything where it's like production, manufacturing, or anything like that, that's not going to be the best case for payroll. If it's something where there's like, your company is highly incentivized, you have other ways to, make markers or incentivize your employees to keep working, I could see that. Or if there comes like some great ownership and responsibility with your role and your position, that your namesake is on the line. So I do feel like not every business can go into a monthly payment. It just wouldn't be beneficial for them. But I have a question. Since we're talking about that job, how do you all honestly feel right now when companies are asking or talking about job culture? So like the culture of our company, our job culture. Do you feel like that has become trendy? One, and do you also feel like that is a true statement? Have you had positive experiences with job culture? Dennis is shaking his head no.
I smell BS. BS is what I smell. Some jobs are some things on some jobs, I will say, they are sticklers about some things on some jobs. I'm gonna say it like that.
If I speak to my current employer, our cultural and diversity participation is mandatory. So it's mandatory. Matter of fact, we have a set of questions now that we have to answer for our first cultural and diversity meeting of the year. And for me, I call slight BS because I always look at leadership. I don't see currently myself reflected in my leadership. And so you cannot speak to cultural and diversity when I don't see it reflective in leadership. That's how I feel it needs to be represented. If you are an innovator or you are really about this, you should be able to see leadership and have that in every aspect of the job. And I'm going to just tell you from my department, when I did the new hire onboarding, they had you meet all the supervisors, and there was not one brown one. One black or brown one. And so it's very difficult for me to believe that you speak to culture and diversity when I don't see it represented in my leadership.
Yeah.
Preach.
Sharon?
Well, so here's where I am with it. It depends on who's speaking about culture, because what I have found is that culture means different things to different people too. Right? So when an employer is talking about their work culture, they're not even talking about diversity and inclusion. Some people,
Thank you.
some people are just talking about management styles and operational levels, and do I have buy-in from my employees and that type of. They're strictly looking at those dynamics. They're not even thinking about the makeup of their leadership team or their employees or staff. And that just blows me away. I do believe it's kind of trendy because of the whole 2020 George Floyd, the movement. All of a sudden, you see all these corporations changing their websites and putting diversity and inclusion, equity, diversity, and inclusion statement on their front page of their website. And all of a sudden, they're rolling out new initiatives.
Yep.
I'm thinking, what? Okay, so this man had to publicly and tragically die for you to understand that this is a real thing and believe it. So now you're going to come up with this DEI program, right? Mm-hmm. So what I saw was an uptick. I actually got in conversations about this very subject with someone when this was happening. And since then, I have been watching many different corporations across the board, watching their websites. So what happened was you saw an uptick after the George Floyd and all the protests. Uptick. Everybody was doing it. 2021 came. There was no more uptick. It kind of leveled off, right? Then all of a sudden, what I've noticed since about midway through 2021 until now, they're not talking about it much anymore, right? Mm-hmm. The Chauvin trial is done. Mm-hmm. You know, several other high profile trials that dealt with racial tensions and so forth have been settled or concluded. And now they're not talking about it like they were. I don't see the ads on TV because this was the first time I had seen so many diversity and inclusion ads by big Fortune 500 corporations in my entire life. And I'm older than all y'all. And I've just never seen this before.
Yeah.
You don't see it now. I'm not seeing it that frequently on TV now. I still see some on, I can name about 5, but all the rest of them, I'm not seeing it. So definitely the word trendy is a word I will use for that. Mm-hmm. I won't speak about my company, but I do know, according to some of my friends and where they live, where they work, they have, it's like a 50-50 split. Some people's companies did something, others didn't. Everything is just status quo. Yeah. They thought they were already doing things right.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that?
Let a consultant come in there and get your face. You can be picking your face up because you're probably not. Soon as as soon as they think that they're doing it right, they're not.
Yeah. My job hired, created a position, diversity inclusion officers. Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have it before, is what you're saying. They created.
It was not a position before, and it has been created.
Now it's created.
Well, I will say for my company is that there are a lot of people who look like me that are in managerial staffs. So and this is locally, my company is, Broad, Pennsylvania, and I believe some of Delaware, but anyway, but locally where I am, so there had already been some conversation about how things were being worked, how people were being hired, who was being promoted, moved up, word and all that other stuff within the offices. And then George Floyd happened. And then from the higher ups, it was like, Board of Trustees was like, oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Board members get really frightened really quickly.
Yes, they do. Because their money is challenged.
They get really nervous real fast.
I feel like for me, my experience was like yours, Sharon. Like when at the height of it, everybody had a black square, and everybody stood for Black Lives Matter and for that. All these large corporations, and as time has ticked on, I guess they think that we forgot, and so their participation in the community may have lessened. It is a different experience. It's kind of like the same thing that happens every February. Everyone is all about Black History Month, and how they interpret their collaboration or their support or their allyship is very different with some of these organizations and corporations. It's not a consistent thing throughout the year. Maybe they only think that Black people exist in February. I really don't know what that means or why they do what they do, but that's the vibe that we give. I, for me personally, have been sole leadership, been the sole supervisor in places, and it's not comforting because it's like there's a lot of things, and people do a lot of things based on the culture, and being the only representative at times is a hard situation or a hard seat to sit in, trying to represent a whole culture for people, for us. In spaces, in leadership, and being there. It is a difficult role to be in. And I know, I feel like if we saw more of us in leadership, maybe we would aspire for it. Maybe we would feel like it was achievable. Maybe we would go for it. I don't know. I feel like, I was pushed for different reasons, but I feel like, if I saw it in my current corporation, maybe I wouldn't be riding the wave that I'm riding right now with them. I don't hate the job. I don't love the job. I'm kind of like in the middle. It pays my bills. That's where I stand with it. But is it a passion? Hell no. It's not a passion. It is not a passion. We're getting ready to wrap up, but Sharon, tell everyone where they can find the Side Jawn and all of the great content, because you talk a lot of things, a lot of content, a lot of great content. And I have seen it, witnessed it, from sports to financial to relationship to just life. Tell everyone where they can find your content and your information.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Tavai. So my professional name is The Chocolate Writer. So I have a page on Facebook, The Chocolate Writer, also on Twitter, Chocolate Writer, @Chocolate Writer, and on Instagram @Chocolate Writer. My website is thechocolatewriter.com. I am the co-host of The Side Jawn with Dennis Holmes, the Ignorant Thinkers podcast, who's on your screen with us right now. And we come on Facebook Live every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, where we talk about life, culture, love, and sports, all four things. And it's just been fantastic. I mean, from the very first show, the traffic and traction that we have has just been amazing. And we are so grateful for that. But it was a dream of Dennis's. It started with him. He wanted to talk about things other than sports, not just sports, and just needed a co-host. And so he selected me, and I'm his co-host, and I'm happy for it. But I just want to make it clear for all you Philly folks who know what the word Jawn means. I'm not really his side Jawn. I just want to make that clear.
Correct.
I am not
Correct.
his side Jawn, but the show is the side Jawn. The show is the side Jawn to all the other sports podcasts we do. That's why it's the side Jawn, y'all. That's why. It ain't me. I'm not it.
Clarify.
But yeah. And I'm sure Dennis is going to tell you where else we are with the Ignorant Thinkers podcast all the other 6 days of the week.
Really quickly before we move on to Dennis, and this is me trying to reach. Who is your Super Bowl pick? This is me reaching. This is in my arena.
I cannot stand either team. So let me get that out of the way. So because I can't stand either team, I had to look at the players to make a pick, right? I like the quarterback of the Bengals, Joe Burrow. I like his main wide receiver, who also just won Rookie of the Year, Jamar Chase. I like him. But I hate the Bengals. Hate. Then the Rams, I don't like the Rams, but I'm stuck on Odell Beckham Jr. proving to Cleveland and all their fans that he was not the problem in Cleveland.
Okay.
So I'm pulling for the Rams to win for that reason alone, because he's already proven it by getting to the Super Bowl and being a part of the reason why they're in the Super Bowl. He didn't just ride the bench and get there. He actually caught critical passes at critical times to get them there. And meanwhile, he caught more passes and has more yardage than he did in Cleveland the last 2 or 3 years he was there in this last half of the season. That's ridiculous. So, but I want him to put his foot on their neck with an exclamation point and win a ring and say, now what? Now what you got to say? So
well said.
I'm pulling for the Rams.
Well said.
Okay.
Me and both.
Shout out to Eric Dickerson out there, because I know he's gonna be feeling himself next Sunday. That's my man, Eric Dickerson. I love him. Hall of Fame running back. What, Dennis?
I didn't say anything.
Dennis,
I know you didn't, but
where can the people find you and all of the great content that you have?
everywhere.
Yeah, I'm almost everywhere. If you Google Ignorant Thinker Podcast, everything pops up. I'm Googleable. Let's just say that. I got that from Noriega. I'm Googleable. Yeah. So yeah, you type in Ignorant Thinker Podcast, you'll find everything I have, including this show, which will be uploaded probably within an hour.
Ooh.
Yeah, again, I like to thank everybody. No, my fault. It's not my show. My bad. And did you want to know my Super Bowl pick?
Yes.
I'm going with the Who They Nation.
Okay.
They got a whole good chance. Who they think gonna beat the
That's
Bengals?
Cincinnati Mercedes. He going with them sorry ass Bengals.
Who they?
I hate them.
Who They Nation? Ohio. This is the month of Ohio right here. They got the All-Star game in Cleveland. The Bengals will win the Super Bowl. I told you, Ohio was going to make a come up. I told you this when we first met, and you told me I was tripping. My time is
I didn't
come.
tell you that. I did not tell you that.
Don't
No, I
make me go
did
back
not.
and get TikTok. Did you make me TikTok?
Go get it.
Make me TikTok.
Go get it. Go get it, because I want to see it, because I didn't say that.
He said receipt, time sharing, receipt.
Yeah, I didn't say that. He know my memory be going sometime because, medication and stuff, but I ain't say that. I know I didn't say that. But
So
yeah.
Before we end, before we end. I don't know if I'm able to share my screen. Am I able to share my screen at all? Do you have to make me a host,
I
Dennis?
think you are. Yes, you are.
Okay, great. I just want to share my screen to talk about some stuff Sweet Love so everybody can see.
Do I need to start singing? Do the Anita Baker? Every time I hear that name, I just Sweet Love. It just comes to my mind every time.
Yes. So I definitely want to plug
Do the Anita Baker.
If you are someone who is like really big into podcasts, this is our podcast, The Confectionery. You can find us on Anchor and on Spotify. And if you are in the Philadelphia area, Friday, February 18th, Sweet Love TMA turns 4. We will be 4, y'all. And this is our live in-person event. Gonna be 5 minutes
Congratulations.
from Harris Casino. Thank you so much. You can get tickets on Eventbrite, or you can get tickets through our website, sweetlovetma.com. It'll connect you to all things Sweet Love TMA. But I just want to personally say thank you so much, for just partnering with us. Dennis is, and now Sharon, you are also a part of the TMA team. And we just thank y'all so much for y'all love and support. Honestly, couldn't do it.
Well, I appreciate that. Of course, I'm going to support you, ladies. I told y'all how I feel about y'all.
And listen, it means a lot, because this like we, it means a lot to get here, to do it consistently, quality. It is a lot. It takes a lot of personal time. It takes a lot of effort. And we know that Dennis and you give a lot of your own time, a lot of your own energy to give quality content. Your name is on it, and we're all in the same boat. And just appreciate the relationships that we have, that the supportive relationships that we have. Dennis has been great with, putting us in contact with people, with supporting us. It's been a pleasure to help support you, Sharon, in your endeavors with the side, Jawn, in any way that we can. I've been and listened to shows, have participated in shows. You have great content. So I look forward to hearing and seeing so much that you have in this upcoming year. So I love the collaborative effort. I love the collaborative relationship that we all have with each other. So it was very exciting to do this show, F That Job Part 3. And we have so much that we didn't talk about that maybe we could touch on again at another time. But I do appreciate you guys. Yes, listen, we can keep going. We can be like the Hunger Games, okay? We can have parts 4, 5, and 6. I don't care. All of them. I love it. It is a passion project. It's a passion, because I feel like we need to really flip this system in a way that works for us and not for them. And so I'm rooting, like Issa Rae said, I'm rooting for everyone Black.
Definitely.
So I'm rooting for all of us, for our year, for this year to be our year to do what we want and to exceed beyond measure.
Yeah. And I want to say shout out to the A.
Yes.
A and TMA. Shout out to Lisa J.
Yes.
Production. We love you. We are standing with you, standing for you, and holding you
thinking
up.
about you. Yep.
Yes.
Thinking about you, Elise. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So if you don't know, as Sadie stated, you can find everything Sweet Love TMA at sweetlovetma.com, from the confectionery to our shows to tickets to the event, all of that at sweetlovetma.com. You can find that, links to all of our social media. Our YouTube is all there. A rewind of 2020 is also 2021. I'm sorry, 2021 is available for you to kind of watch too, a highlight reel of some of our great shows that we had. But thank you so much.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh yeah, it's all there.
Oh, I didn't know that was there. Let me go. I'm gonna look at that tonight.
Yes, highlight
so I can
reel.
crack up.
The A works hard, okay? Elise works hard behind the scenes. And so all of her great endeavors is out there on our page for you to see. We worked very hard on that website The merch is coming very, very soon. Probably after the event. The event is very much taking a lot of our time, but the event is coming to you if you are in the Philadelphia tri-state area. It is happening here locally for me in Delaware County, so 5 minutes from Harris, Philadelphia, from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. at Dreams Event Lounge. And Amari Eats will be there. On the house is the live band that we have. It's going to be a great time. We have a 360 camera. With the VIP ticket, you get a open bar option. Food is open to every ticket. It's going to be a great night, a great event, kind of celebrating our 4 years. And we're just going to come back after that with even more great content. We might be seeing you guys for F That Job Part 4. We got to coordinate schedules.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Definitely. Thank
I
you,
love it.
That'll work.
Sharon. Thank you,
Well,
Sharon, so much.
thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. As
Thank you.
always, thank you. Thank you.
I
Where did
love
Dennis go?
y'all. I have no clue where Dennis went. He might have
Where
lost
did Dennis go?
connection.
He left. He left us.
Might have lost
He
connection.
may have to, he may have to come back in.
Yeah. There
He is. Yeah, sometimes he switches up.
There he is. Yeah, I'm back. Something happened. I had technical difficulty.
No problem. No problem. We closing out the show anyway. We just wanted to say thank you though, Dennis. That's all.
Yes. Thank y'all too. We trust me. Love y'all dearly. Just going through some technical difficulties. I think y'all want to with y'all
You're back
special
on
segment.
mute.
Y'all might want to end with y'all special segment.
We
Definitely.
do. Wait. Dennis, tell the people that Dennis is going to be on the mic. He's emceeing at our event on the 18th.
Yes, I
Dennis
sure
is going to.
I'll be on the mic. And I think I'll have some giveaways as well. No, I will have some giveaways.
All right. All right. Y'all hear that, people? If you're in the building,
I heard.
Dennis has a giveaway.
Yes.
Mhm.
We got giveaways, good food, open bar, and giveaways. Can't get no rider.
All right. Got
All
something in store.
y'all. Thank you always for watching us on Sweet Love TMA. Shout out to Ignorant Thinkers Podcast. Sharing the chocolate writer Mullins. Appreciate
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
And as always, what do we say on Sweet Love? Don't forget to wash your hands. Wash your nasty ass hands. We love y'all.
Love y'all. Thank you so much.
COVID is real.